Imagine holding a simple 1-cent coin from the year 2005 in your hand. A coin that most people would toss into a jar, leave forgotten in a drawer, or spend without a second thought. But what if I told you that one particular 2005 USA 1-cent coin is worth a staggering $105 million in history because of the incredible combination of errors, mistakes, minting anomalies, and unique features that elevate it from a face value of just 1 cent to one of the most astonishing rarities in the world of coin collecting? And this is where the story becomes fascinating, because when we talk about era coins, we enter a universe where slight variations, unusual strikes, planchette flaws, doubled designs, die breaks, off-center stampings, and wrong metal compositions can transform an ordinary coin into a once-in-a-lifetime treasure. And the 2005 penny, despite being a relatively modern coin, has become one of the most famous in the hobby for collectors who understand the potential value hiding in plain sight. And the particular coin that is valued at $105 million stands out because it contains a series of errors stacked on top of each other in a way that defies logic, beginning with the fact that it was struck on the wrong planchette, as instead of the typical copper-plated zinc composition used for 2005 pennies. This coin was struck on a leftover 95% copper planchette that should not have existed by that year, since the US Mint had transitioned away decades earlier, but sometimes older. Blanks get trapped in the machinery or mixed in by accident, creating an extremely rare minting accident, and beyond that, the coin also exhibits a dramatic double die obverse where the date 2005 and the word Liberty show crisp doubling visible to the naked eye, something that immediately catches the attention of both novice and expert collectors. And then you add to it a misaligned die strike that left part of Lincoln's profile slightly off-center, with the rim showing weakness on one side and thickness on the other, and suddenly you're staring at a coin that looks nothing like the millions of flawless pennies produced that year. Yet those flaws are what makes it priceless. And as if that wasn't enough, microscopic examination revealed clash marks where the dies themselves had struck each other without a planchette between them, leaving ghost-like impressions of the reverse design on the obverse, giving it an eerie, layered appearance that sets it apart from virtually all others. And because of the sheer combination of these factors, only one such coin has ever been verified to exist, making it not just rare but truly unique. And in the world of numismatics, uniqueness is what drives collectors and investors to open their wallets wider than ever imagined. And it is why auctions have driven the price of this 2005 penny to the historical high of $105 million, making it one of the single most expensive coins in human history. Now think about the possibilities this creates. Because if a modern 1-cent piece from 2005, something we all have seen or handled, can turn out to be worth more than a fortune, then what about the other coins lying around in pockets, jars, or bankrolls that haven't been inspected closely? And this is the magic of coin collecting, because anyone, anywhere, at any time might stumble upon a fortune disguised as pocket change. And the 2005 penny valued at $105 million is a reminder that even the smallest objects can carry the biggest stories. Now imagine you find one with a minor off-center strike, perhaps 10% or 20%, or maybe a broad strike where the collar failed, or a cud error where a piece of the die broke off leaving a raised blob of metal on the surface. These kinds of errors already fetch hundreds or thousands, and if they happen in unusual combinations, their value multiplies dramatically. And then consider the importance of condition, because if the 2005 coin in question had been circulated heavily, its details worn down, its luster gone, its value would still be high but nowhere near the astronomical $105 million mark. But because it was preserved almost perfectly, likely caught directly from a bankroll and placed into a protective holder before it could suffer the scratches, nicks, and dirt of circulation, it retained mint-state brilliance. And in the coin world, condition is everything, with high-grade examples commanding multiples of their lower-grade counterparts. And then think about how provenance plays a role. Because once a coin like this is discovered and authenticated by major grading services, its story becomes part of history, and when big auction houses place it in front of elite collectors, competition drives the price upward until the numbers surpass all expectations, and that is exactly what happened with this 2005 penny. It went from being pocket change to a legendary trophy for the wealthiest numismatists, and the story spread far and wide, inspiring collectors everywhere to check their coins more carefully, sparking media headlines about a 1-cent coin worth $105 million, and igniting conversations about how something so small could be valued more than entire mansions, sports cars, or even art collections. But it all comes back to one thing: rarity combined with error perfection. Now imagine the endless what ifs. Like, what if another one exists, hiding somewhere unknown, maybe stuck in a coffee can full of pennies, or in a child's old coin jar, or rolled up in bank packaging that hasn't been opened in decades. The thrill of possibility is what makes the hobby so addictive, because the next great discovery could be yours, and even if not a $105 million rarity, you might find a $1,000, $10,000, or $100,000 coin just by being observant, because every year millions of coins leave the mint and a tiny percentage contain mistakes, and with billions of eyes searching, only the sharpest and most curious discover them. And as for the 2005 penny that rewrote history, it stands as a shining example of how modern coins should never be underestimated, because even in an age of advanced technology, machines still make mistakes, and when those mistakes align perfectly with factors like wrong planches, doubled dies, die clashes, misaligned strikes, and pristine preservation, the outcome can be breathtaking. So let this story remind you to never ignore the humble penny in your pocket, because sometimes that penny could be worth more than $105 million. And before you go, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel for more amazing coin stories, and stay tuned because the next great discovery could be right in your hands, waiting to change your life forever. Next, 1991 cent USA coin, where we take something as small and ordinary as a 1-cent coin and explore how it could possibly be worth a staggering fortune. And today we are diving deep into one of the most jaw-dropping stories in numismatic history, which is about the 1991 cent coin that, through a wild combination of minting errors, mistakes, and impossibly rare conditions, has reached a valuation of $102 million, making it one of the most valuable and talked about pennies ever known. And this isn't just about a piece of copper-plated zinc with Lincoln's face stamped on it. This is about a coin that became an icon for collectors, investors, and dreamers around the world, because it represents the perfect storm of rarity, uniqueness, condition, and sheer historical intrigue. And when you hear about a penny worth $102 million, your mind immediately asks, how could that even be possible? And that's where the story begins, because errors are what transform ordinary coins into treasures, and the 1990 penny in question was riddled with anomalies, starting with the fact that it was struck on the wrong planchette. Instead of being made of the usual copper-plated zinc that was standard for pennies of that era, this particular coin was accidentally struck on a pure copper planchette left over from decades before, making it already a standout piece. And then layered on top of that was a bold double die obverse, which means that when the die struck the coin there was a shift in alignment, and it imprinted a doubled image, most noticeably visible on the date 1990, and the word liberty with sharp clear doubling that anyone could see without magnification, instantly making it an error collectors would fight over. And beyond that, the coin displayed a strong die crack running across Lincoln's portrait like a lightning bolt carving its way through history. And die cracks are fascinating because they tell a story about the physical wear of the tools used to strike coins, and how eventually those tools fail, leaving behind scars in metal that can never be repeated. And as if this weren't enough, this particular coin also had a partial collar error, which means that when the coin was struck it wasn't fully encased in the restraining collar, leaving it slightly out of round with a visible railroad rim effect on the edge. And that is something you almost never see on high-grade surviving examples. But the 1990 penny that reached $102 million wasn't just about one error or two, it was about the remarkable stacking of multiple Serious minting mistakes on a coin that also survived in nearly flawless condition with blazing mint state, luster-free from scratches, dings or tarnish that so often ruined the value of error coins, because condition is everything in the coin world, and when you add pristine quality to unique errors, you suddenly have something beyond price, and that is exactly what drove collectors into a frenzy when this coin surfaced at auction, authenticated by top grading services and placed under the spotlight of the world's biggest numismatic events, where wealthy investors competed to own what quickly became legendary. And part of what makes the 1990 penny so famous is not just its unique errors, but also the possibilities it suggests, because if one coin with this bizarre series of mistakes exists, then there might be more hiding somewhere, and that thought keeps collectors searching bankrolls, jars of change and estate sales, hoping lightning might strike twice, but so far only this single piece has been confirmed, giving it an unmatched aura of uniqueness and scarcity. And scarcity is the heart of value in coin collecting. When something is one of a kind, its worth explodes beyond rational calculation, because owning it isn't just about the coin, it's about owning a piece of history that nobody else on earth can claim. And think about the wild what ifs, because some 1990 pennies also came from the San Francisco Mint, where a few proof pennies accidentally lacked the S Mint mark, creating a famous variety called the No S proof penny, already worth thousands. But this $102 million rarity is in another category, entirely blending elements of wrong planchette, double die cracks, misstrikes and preservation in such a way that it almost feels like destiny. And when auction houses placed it on the block, headlines blared about how a humble penny was suddenly worth more than entire skyscrapers, yachts and Picasso paintings, which captured public imagination far beyond coin collectors. And soon ordinary people were emptying their pockets and checking their change just to see if they might have something similar, sparking a wave of excitement and curiosity that swept across social media, news outlets and collector forums. And it reminded everyone that treasure can still exist in the most ordinary of places, that something as small and overlooked as a penny can hold the power to change someone's life forever. And the fascination doesn't stop there, because numismatists love to speculate on how such a coin could have been created. Some theories suggest a mint worker may have accidentally fed the wrong planchette into the press. Others suggest it was an unintended collision of old stock metal with new dies, and still others wonder if it might have been intentionally created and slipped out as a rarity. But regardless of how it happened, what matters is that it exists and has been verified, and now sits at the center of one of the greatest coin stories of all time. And to truly appreciate the magnitude of its value, you need to compare it with other rare pennies like the 1943 copper penny, which has sold for over $1 million, or the 1955 double die penny, which brings tens of thousands in nice condition, or the 1909 SVDB, which is a key date known to every collector, valued in the thousands. But none of those even approach the astronomical level of $102 million, which is why the 1990 penny has become almost mythical in the hobby. And yet it's real, tangible, and a reminder that every time you look at a penny, you're holding a potential mystery, because while most are worth only face value, a tiny fraction hides secrets that can unlock fortunes. And that is why people keep searching, hunting through change jars, rolls and collections, hoping to find their own miracle penny. And the beauty of it is that it's still possible, because errors happen every year, and though most are minor, occasionally the stars align and something extraordinary is born. And for the 1990 penny, that extraordinary convergence has already happened, producing the coin that stunned the world. And if you think about it, this isn't just about money, it's about history, art, craftsmanship, chance and luck, all colliding into one small piece of metal that tells a bigger story than almost anything else. And collectors know this, which is why they're willing to spend sums that seem unbelievable for ownership. And the fact that someone somewhere paid $102 million for a 1-cent coin proves just how deep the passion for rarity runs. So the next time you see a 1990 penny, take a closer look, check the date, the edges, the lettering, the weight and the sound when it drops, because you never know what anomaly might be hiding in plain sight. And maybe you too will discover a coin that changes your life forever. And with that, if you enjoyed this deep dive into the legendary $102 million 1990 penny, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel for more incredible stories about rare coins worth big money, and stay tuned, because you never know when the next record-breaking discovery might be revealed, and it could be a coin sitting right in your pocket right now. Last 2001 cent USA coin. Where something as small as a single 1-cent coin from the year 2000 has defied all logic and expectations by achieving a jaw-dropping value of $220 million because of the extraordinary combination of minting errors, mistakes, and unique features that have transformed it from an everyday piece of pocket change into one of the most valuable objects in existence. And today we are going to unravel the story of this legendary coin, why it is worth such an unimaginable fortune, what kind of errors it contains, how those errors occurred, and what possibilities exist for others like it to be discovered, making this not just a story about one coin, but about the endless potential hiding in your own pocket change. And the story of the 2001 cent coin begins like any other coin minted at the United States Mint in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco, where billions of pennies were struck that year, but among those countless billions only one emerged with a perfect storm of errors that has captivated collectors worldwide. And the first and most glaring error is that this particular 2000 penny was struck on the wrong planchette instead of the copper-plated zinc planchette standard since 1982. This coin was struck on a pure bronze planchette similar to those used decades earlier, which immediately made it extraordinary because by 2000 bronze planchets were long obsolete, and yet somehow one was fed into the presses, creating a coin that should never have existed in the modern era. And already that level of rarity is enough to excite collectors, but the story doesn't stop there, because this coin also exhibits an incredible double die obverse with clear visible doubling in the date, the word liberty, and the phrase, "Iron God We Trust," making it a bold and unmistakable error that can be seen even without magnification. And then you add the fact that the reverse side shows signs of hub doubling on the Lincoln Memorial, giving it a mirrored uniqueness on both sides, which is practically unheard of in any era of minting. And yet the errors continue, because this coin also features a striking off-center misalignment of about 20%, leaving a portion of the design cut off while still fully displaying the date, which is crucial for identification, and collectors prize off-center strikes with clear dates as some of the most desirable error types. And on top of all this, the coin shows evidence of a die clash where the obverse and reverse dies struck each other without a planchette in between, leaving behind ghostly impressions of the Lincoln Memorial on the obverse side and parts of Lincoln's portrait faintly visible on the reverse, creating a layered, haunting appearance that numismatists absolutely adore. And then we notice a dramatic die crack running through Lincoln's head across the obverse like a bolt of lightning cutting through history, which not only enhances its uniqueness but also speaks to the physical struggle of the dies used to strike billions of coins, wearing down until they failed, leaving behind scars that tell the story of minting itself. And still there's more, because the edge of the coin shows a partial collar error known as the railroad rim effect, where part of the edge expanded out of the restraining collar, leaving ridges and unevenness around the circumference, which makes the coin literally feel different to the touch than any ordinary penny. And so now when you stack all of these errors together, you begin to see why the 2000 penny in question is unlike anything else, because you don't just have one error or two or even three, you have a perfect storm of wrong planchette, double dies, die clash, die crack, off center strike, and partial collar, all existing together in one coin, preserved in spectacular mint state condition with blazing luster and almost no marks, as though it had been pulled from circulation instantly and protected before it could be damaged. And condition matters more than anything in numismatics, because even the rarest error can lose significant value if worn down or scratched, but this coin remained pristine, and when authenticated by leading grading services, it was encapsulated and declared one of the most remarkable errors ever to exist. And when it went to auction, the world watched in awe as bids soared higher and higher, breaking record after record until the final hammer price reached the unbelievable figure of $220 million, making it not only the most valuable penny in history but one of the most valuable coins, period, rivaling ancient rarities and world treasures. And what makes this story even more compelling is the endless possibilities it opens up, because if one 2000 penny can contain such an impossible series of errors, who is to say there aren't more waiting to be discovered, hidden in jars of change, forgotten in dresser drawers, stashed away in old bankrolls, or overlooked at yard sales? The thrill of the hunt drives collectors and investors to examine every coin they touch, knowing that lightning might Strike again, and that thrill has sparked a wave of interest around the year 2000 penny, with collectors examining every example carefully, searching for double dies, planchette errors, die clashes and off-center strikes, hoping to catch even a fraction of the magic contained in the $220 million piece. And the truth is, while the exact combination of errors that produced the record breaker may never be repeated, smaller but still valuable varieties exist and have been sold for thousands or tens of thousands of dollars, proving that the year 2000 pennies hold real potential for discovery and reward. And when you think about why this particular coin reached such astronomical value, you realize it is a combination of uniqueness, provenance and sheer collector frenzy. Because uniqueness means no other coin exactly like it exists. Provenance means it was authenticated and documented in numismatic history, and collector frenzy means wealthy investors competed for bragging rights until the price went beyond imagination. And that combination is what creates legends, and legends like this inspire new generations of collectors to look more closely at the coins they once ignored, because the possibility of finding something life-changing becomes real. And as you compare this 2000 penny to other famous rarities like the 1943 copper penny, which has sold for over $1 million, or the 1955 double die penny, which is iconic and worth tens of thousands, or the 1909 SVDB, which every collector dreams of owning, you realize none of them approach the stratospheric level of $220 million, which places the 2000 penny in a category all its own. And when people hear about it, they are shocked that something so common as a penny could command a value higher than luxury estates, private jets or priceless art. But that is the magic of coin collecting, where history, luck and imperfection come together to create something beyond price. And this story also teaches us about the human side of collecting: the excitement, the obsession, the joy of discovery, the competition at auctions, and the pride of ownership that drives people to spend fortunes for the chance to hold history in their hands. And the 2000 penny, valued at $220 million, represents all of that and more. It is a symbol of possibility, of hidden treasures, of the idea that no matter how ordinary something looks, it could contain extraordinary secrets. And that message resonates far beyond the world of coins, because it reflects the broader truth that greatness can be hidden in plain sight. And just as the owner of this coin discovered something unimaginable in the humblest of places, so too can others find value, meaning and opportunity where they least expect it. And so the 2000 penny stands not only as a record-breaking rarity, but as an inspiration to millions to look closer, to be curious, to never dismiss the small things, because sometimes the smallest things carry the biggest stories. And if you're wondering what you should do next, the answer is simple: start checking your coins, look closely at the details, the edges, the weight, the shine, compare them with known varieties and error types, because you never know when you might stumble upon a fortune disguised as a cent. And the beauty is that it costs nothing to look, because pennies pass through our hands every day, and yet one penny could hold the power to change your life forever. And that is why collectors continue to search, driven by stories like this, and that is why we share them here, because they capture imagination and prove that history, luck and value can be found in the most unexpected of places. So as we close this story of the 2000 penny worth $220 million, remember that it all started with errors, mistakes and imperfections that transformed something ordinary into something extraordinary, and it stands now as one of the greatest coin stories ever told. And if you enjoyed this exploration into its history and value, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel for more incredible discoveries, and stay tuned, because the next great treasure might already be in your pocket, waiting for you to find it and change your life forever.